All right, everyone, you're watching Fresh News. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do so. Fresh News on YouTube and like my page on Facebook. All right. So, the white privilege is something that is in everybody's mouth nowadays, and it's quite frankly annoying. Honestly, it's really annoying for me. Can't stand it, man. But here's the thing, right? How there is some truth to that, and it's not that I agree with the social justice warriors, but there is some stuff that they make some really valid points. You know, we can't deny that the history of America will have no consequences. We can't be oblivious to the truth. That's going to happen, regardless of the things that has happened in the past. It's, you know. So empathy is important. Because the reality is, and I have to look at my notes, excuse me. Empathy is important because no one knows what it's like to be in someone else's shoes. So empathy is very important. The truth is, I do not know what it's like to be you. You do not know what it's like to be me. We don't know what it's like to be an African American. But it's not just about collectivism. It's also an individual. It's not limited to collectivism. Because you also have to understand that not all the experiences of a white person or a black person will be similar. There will be a poor white person. There will be a privileged black kid, and not all the experiences. So we have to understand that, yes, I mean, you do not know what it's like to be black and being racial profiled by the police, but you also can't assume that a white person has not gone through that. So empathy should not be just limited to a collectivism or this political identity politics, but it should be understood and we should look as individuals. For we have to understand that there's many white people that are going through suffering, even in this country. Perhaps it's domestic, or perhaps it's even in the workplace. Perhaps it's discrimination, in one way or another. Perhaps they live a white person lives in a town where majority are minorities, and therefore they are being mistreated. And because they do not have the influence or the power, they really can't do much. So everybody has some sort. So empathy should not just be limited by collectivism, but be acknowledged by individualism. You see, now it is fair to say that, in America, white racism has existed, and it's very unlikely for whites to be denied an opportunity. It doesn't mean that it won't happen, but it's very unlikely based on the color of their skin. Unless we have some sort of affirmative action, of course, that's a little bit different. But it's not to say that it is not the intention to discriminate a white person. It's the intention of trying to help a person of color. But unfortunately, it does affect usually that small percentage, 20 million approximately, white poor people in this country that are affected by affirmative action. And of course, we can understand that we can understand, we can have that empathy and be understanding that the founders of this country, which is a great country, a powerful country in the world, are white, and a great majority of people in the country, in the world, are white. However, we also cannot forget that in recent years, the Chinese and Indian billionaires are, reaching the top 1%. So it's not just exclusively to white folks, but there's many people of color that are actually reaching the pinnacle of success. But this is where I believe it's wrong how they teach privilege. I do not want people to teach this privilege like it's some sort of disease, like it's some sort of diabetes. Example, I don't want them to come up with something like, did you check your privilege? No, I haven't checked my privilege. Well, check your privilege. Like a dose of diabetes. I do not think that we should have that type of belief or lifestyle or, the new norm. Now there's other ways to look into that. It is also wrong for saying that white people cannot have an opinion because of someone else's race. First of all, it's immoral and it's not biblical. It is wrong to say the majority of people of color's problem is linked to white privilege. So this is just my thoughts on how white privilege is. We cannot say that most of the problems, and I think it's very counterproductive to assume that most of the problems in people of color is really linked to white privilege. How about internal problems? There's many things that we have to say. And to say that white people cannot have an opinion just simply because they're white, then you do not understand what I feel like. It's not an argument at all. As a matter of fact, it's racist and it's immoral. And that is not helpful for our society. We want to bring people together. The white privilege, how the social justice and this critical thinking is using it, it's not how we do it. All right, well, that's all.